What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. Welcome to the War Room. What is this, episode 338, which is kind of insane. So welcome to the War Room. In case you're not familiar, we do this every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern. And I'm only seeing comments on Facebook right now. So if you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, or Twitch, can you guys let me know that you're seeing me okay? I want to make sure that you guys are streaming the show as per usual. So every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern, we get together here in the War Room. And we've been doing it since March 14th of 2020, which means we're coming up on our 6th anniversary, which is insane. And it started by us doing this every night for 80 straight nights during the pandemic. And then in June of 2020, when we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast, we turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show. So we get together, we talk about music, we talk about the world, we talk about what's going on in all of our lives. We're like an online support group with cocktails. And I want to make sure that you guys also get to meet my co-hosts. We raided the clearance rack at the pet store with some leftover Halloween decorations and toys. And, well, let's just say the pugs are a little bit excited right now, which means they'll be napping in a couple of minutes. Got to say what's up to everybody. What's up, Brett and Alexis and Sherry and Ash and Jessica and Chris and Lisa and Josh. Bish, Kim, Louise. Let's see. Thank you for letting me know Instagram is working. Keith says, what's up, fuckers? Hello, Tracy and Donna. Betty says that YouTube is working just fine, which is fantastic. Chris says, Carrie, where can I find episodes of the old Side Piece podcast, specifically the Woodstock 99 and the Mojave Desert phone booth episodes? Chris, those should still be live. I would think that the Mistress Carrie Side Piece podcast should still be available on podcasts like Apple and maybe Spotify and stuff. To my knowledge, they never got taken down. But obviously, when WAAF got sold, all of that stuff kind of went away. So double check that and let me know, because I thought those episodes were all still live. I have the archives of them, but I thought that they were still, I mean, I don't get any credit for the downloads anymore or whatever, but my assumption was that they were still alive online. So if that's not the case, let me know. What's up, Kevin? Carol. Travis says, I keep thinking it's Monday, but it's double horns time. Yeah, the holiday yesterday. Not everybody gets Martin Luther King Jr. Day off. I had it off on some of my stations, but not all of my stations. So a lot of people get screwed up because MLK Day, not everybody gets it off. So yes, it's Tuesday. Yes, we're here in the War Room. What's up, Sherry? Hello, Denise. Let's see. Facebook is late as usual. It's all good. Yes, Friday, do you want to sit down? Go ahead, sit down on my lap. There you go, so everybody can see you. Mr. Cole says, is it cold in Kentucky? So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, it's actually pretty serious. Have you guys been tracking this crazy storm that is going to happen this weekend down south? Now, I can tell you where I am in the Northeast, we are supposed to get below zero for the first time, and it's going to be single digits during the day and then below zero at night. We are supposed to get some snow later on in the weekend, but all the way from East Texas through the Carolinas, this massive cold snap and ice storm, they're warning that this could be a deadly cold snap and worse than what Texas dealt with their grid going down a few years ago. Now, Texas has an isolated grid, which means that they're not connected to the national grid, which made it a lot harder to restore power in Texas. A lot of those other states that are going to be affected are part of the national grid. However, if there's 3 inches of ice Friday, do you want to talk about the weather or no? But if those states get 3 inches of ice, like they're predicting, they're not going to be able to get the linemen out there to restore power. And a lot of these places are not insulated for cold weather and they are not prepared. What's up, Joe Abbott? So I wanted to talk to you guys about this because if you're in the Northeast, it's just going to be cold, right? Which is something we're used to. It's normal this time of year. But you might think that this ice storm down south isn't going to affect us. In the Northeast, we were pretty unaffected by the Texas thing a few years ago, and it was super tragic, and people died. People were cutting up furniture to stay warm. It was really crazy. The thing is, if this storm is as bad across the southern part of the country as they're predicting it could be, it's going to disrupt flights all around the world, especially if it affects Atlanta, which is such a huge airline hub. And it's also going to disrupt supply chain stuff coming up through the Gulf. So I wanted to talk to you guys about it because even if you're in the Northeast or even if you're in other parts of the country where you don't think you're going to be affected, you absolutely could be, because things like Amazon and FedEx planes could end up grounded because of this. Ships are not going to get unloaded in the Gulf as quickly as they would. So my suggestion would be, and I'm looking for your comments and your suggestions in the comments here, to be prepared for some things to be delayed. Meaning, even if you're not going to get this storm, I would make sure that I had medications for yourself, for your elderly parents, for your pets, for your kids, insulin, like all of that kind of stuff. Not that there's going to be shortages, but that it'll be delayed because the roads, if they get 3 inches of ice in the south, that ice is there until the temperatures warm up. They don't have the equipment to be able to handle that stuff. And while I know they're preparing for it and sending trucks and stuff down south right now, in places that are used to cold weather, plows, sanding trucks, road treatment stuff, they don't have the amount of equipment that would be required. So, be prepared to lose power for days. So to make sure you've got everything you need. Like for me personally, I'm already making a list. I went to the pet store today and made sure that I had all the dog treats and everything that I needed in the dog food. But it could affect the entire country depending on how long that part of the country is down for the count. Mr. Cole says booze. Bish says Bezos can afford the loss. Lou says absolutely delivery will be delayed. Betty says this cold needs to move back to Alaska. Son is flying to Miami on Wednesday. Glad he's leaving from a local airport. Well, that's the thing. My husband's in Vegas right now, and he already today got an email from the airline, and his flight's not even until Friday night. And he's right now trying to reschedule because they're just anticipating that the flights are going to be screwed up, even if he's flying through parts of the country that are unaffected by the ice storm. So Bish says loaded up on food shopping today. Eric says greetings all, getting over the flu, slept like 10 hours today. Eric, that's what you're supposed to do when you're getting over the flu. You're supposed to hydrate. You're supposed to feed the cold with, good nutritious stuff, hopefully like your grandmother's soup or something. And you're supposed to sleep. You got to sleep it off. You got to rest and hydrate. So Heather says, I have your snowstorm Girl Scout cookies. Oh, hell yeah, Heather. I don't know how much snow you guys got over the weekend, but there's like a foot at my house. So Chris says, bro, an inch of snow shut Mississippi down when I was living there years back. Yeah, and that's snow. Ice makes it so that emergency services can't get out. Like They don't have chains for their tires. So, even calling 911, we saw it play out in Texas, right? That there were people at home that need equipment to work and they don't have backup generators. They had no heat. Their house isn't insulated. We've talked about this stuff before, and obviously people make fun of me all the time because I'm like a zombie doomsday apocalypse prepper. But these things happen more and more frequently. Even if you live in a place that you think would be unaffected by this, like if you live in a place that gets fires or earthquakes or tornadoes or hurricanes, like I don't understand why you wouldn't have a generator. Even if you can't afford like a big whole house generator, there are a lot of amazing like emergency battery packs and stuff that will keep cell phones and laptops charged and that kind of stuff that are pretty affordable. But if you're someone that, if you've got kids in the house, if you are taking care of elderly parents, if you're immunocompromised, if you are dependent on any kind of equipment or technology, have that plan of like, where can you go? Is there a relative that has a generator that you could go to their house? I've already made calls with some friends down south. I've already, talked to my sister who's in the city, and we're just preparing for cold weather. But I was like, look, that's when you find out your furnace is going to break, right? Is when it's absolutely freezing cold. And so having that backup generator, having wood stoves, like just having things that you can be prepared for this stuff. Think about that stuff now and order stuff. Go to actual brick and mortar stores and pick up what you think you're going to need, because getting deliveries, everything's going to be disrupted. Now, there's a chance that it's not going to be as bad. And you guys know that with these ice storms and stuff, 1 or 2 degrees is the difference between, ice and rain. And for a lot of places down south, maybe they'll just get rain. But if they get ice, the whole country is going to feel it. So Bish says, Walter, gas up that generator. Chris says, what was that Ice Age movie where the world freezes? Oh, I don't remember that one. Bish says day after tomorrow. Marcy says, petroleum heat systems, get that ready. Lou says they don't have trucks or de-icing treatment for the roads. No, I don't even know if they have them for half of the planes they have. Friday, why are you snorting in the microphone? Battery backups are getting cheaper, Kevin. Absolutely. Even just making sure you have a plan to keep your cell phone charged so that if there is an emergency, or just so that you can keep in contact with the family and relatives that are going to be worried about you. So getting all of that stuff in place now. Keith says, my furnace broke yesterday, spent the night with no heat. Keith, you're better off dealing with that now than over the weekend, man. Below 0 temps. Ugh. Frank says, hey, Carrie, increasing chance of snowstorm Sunday night. Brutal cold this weekend. Wood stoves are great when the power goes out. Frank, that's why I got a wood stove right here in the war room. And I have a dog bed in front of the big wood stove in the other room where the pugs have been literally like laying in front of it all day. Like, this is what Wednesday does in front of the wood stove. She just lays there and bakes in front of the wood stove. And then Friday she hasn't left my lap. Like, she's on my lap right now. Head down, snoring. Did you hear me talking about you? Yeah. Did you hear me talking about you? But, and the other thing is, be really, really careful taking your dogs outside in below 0 temperatures because their paws cannot handle that. If your dogs are like mine, they refuse to wear shoes. So what we started doing is putting tarps down on part of the yard when it snows, so we can pull the tarp up and it's exposed grass. And so we just carry them out there, drop them on the grass so that they can go to the bathroom, and then we pick them back up and bring them in. Let's see. We better not lose power during the Pats game. Bish, don't even joke, man. Do not even joke. That's why I wore this tonight. You guys are going to get a kick out of this week's podcast episode. Speaking of the Pats, by the way, Patriots are playing the Broncos 3:00 Sunday afternoon. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we're all going to have power. Make sure your cell phones are charged. So no matter where you're hanging out with me in the war room, just really put a plan together and make sure you have everything you need. And if you've got family or relatives that are traveling, make sure that they have a plan if they get stranded where they are because they can't fly, to make sure that they can extend their hotels, to make sure that there's family nearby, to make sure they've got the money to be able to, sustain the expenses of extra days, eating in restaurants or whatever, because it is going to be really, really crazy. And we've talked about it before. The seasons aren't the way that they used to. We've seen that in the Northeast. We're seeing it everywhere. And so as the climate changes, and I'm not getting into your debate about what's causing the changes in climate, we can all agree that spring and fall aren't exactly the way they used to be growing up. And that sometimes, we get no snow and it's unseasonably warm. This is traditionally the coldest week of the year in the United States as a whole. It's this week of the year, and it's going to be freezing cold. But people that live down south, you don't get to escape these cold temps, I think, the way that you used to be able to. And so, it still shocks me that they're building stuff that doesn't have insulation. All these places are hot in the summertime. They have air conditioning. Why wouldn't you want your house insulated to hold the cold in? I don't understand it. But Jessica says those pugs snoring are too adorable. So just have a plan for this stuff, but expect that things are going to be delayed even in places that are used to the cold. Bish says, Carrie, bust out the bomber hat for good luck. Bish, trust me, the hat will be busted out this weekend for good luck. Masshole on Instagram says it's called the climate cycle. Well, the climate cycle is one thing if it's going back to the way it used to be. But if it's changing in a way that it never has been before, that's not a cycle. That's just change. Lou says, yeah, we get 6 weeks of summer now. If we're looking at 3 inches of ice in Mississippi and Texas and Louisiana and Alabama and Georgia and the Carolinas and northern Florida, crazy. Louise says iguanas are falling out of the trees in Florida. Yeah, I am just so all set. If you guys listen to last week's podcast episode, which by the way, let's just talk about it. I talked to Barry Kirch from Shinedown, who lives in North Florida. And that's what we were talking about. I'll take the snow, right? Out of all of the things that could happen, whether it's tornadoes or mudslides or fires or crocodiles and alligators and iguanas falling out of trees and forest fires and I'll take the snow. I can put a fleece on, can light the wood stove, I can pug snuggle and stay warm and be fine. The rest of the stuff, pug hole. The rest of the stuff, by the way, yeah, no, I am all set with falling iguanas out of the trees. Shane says, miss you guys. Here's my once a month visit because of early work schedule. What's up, Shane? Bish says Mother Nature is definitely PMSing. Don't blame it on Mother Nature's cycle, Bish. Betty says, I believe my place lacks insulation. It is plenty drafty in places. Yeah, a lot of places don't have the insulation that they need. And that's not good for the cold or the heat. No matter what, your energy bills are higher than they need to be because you can't hold the heat or the cold in there. Mr. Cole says, half mast saves. check it out for you. They have some great deals. Yeah, if you live in Massachusetts, you can call Mass Saves. They'll come out and give you an energy audit. I had it done at my house. They will check how much heat you're losing through your roof and your walls. They will help you replace power strips and light bulbs and all kinds of stuff. And you also, which a lot of people don't realize when it comes to Mass Saves, you even get rebates on appliances. So if you're looking to replace your washer and dryer, your dishwasher, your oven, your stove, you can get rebates for hundreds of dollars off more energy efficient appliances and stuff, including, I believe, air conditioners. So you definitely want to check that out. Jason says, I'll take the warm and sunny and 82 degrees. Yeah, but Jason, where is it sunny and 82 degrees? And what else do you have to deal with because of that? Like, I've been down south. The bugs are so huge, I couldn't handle it. Like, when you have to screen in your swimming pool, put a whole cage over your swimming pool because the bugs and the gators are trying to get you, I'll take the snow. I really will. Louise says they can use the margarita salt for the roads down south. Do not waste good margarita salts. Do not waste that. So that was the biggest thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, just in all seriousness, because it could get really, really dangerous. And people died in Texas a few years ago when their grid went down and it got below freezing. A lot of these places are just not prepared for this kind of stuff. And while we may joke about it in the Northeast because we're used to it, it's a deadly thing for people if they are not prepared for this. So, just check on your loved ones and just make sure you have everything you need. All right. I want to remind you guys about some stuff. First of all, I want to remind you guys about where you can hear me. Speaking of Charleston, you can hear me every weekday from 10 to 3 on Charleston's Best Rock, 98 Rock. We are getting ready to do a massive Welcome to Rockville contest if you download the 98 Rock app. So if you want to go to Welcome to Rockville at the Daytona International Speedway coming up in May to see literally the Foo Fighters and Guns N' Roses, everybody, download the app because we're doing the contest on January 30th through the app. But if you want to listen to the station, you can go to my98rock.com or download the app. You can hear me every weekday afternoon at pikefm.com or on 100 FM The Pike in Worcester, Mass. Or you can download the free Pike app. And all this week, I have got 9 Inch Nails tickets to give away on the Pike, so be listening for that. You can hear me every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. Download the Bone app. Go to 1063thebone.com to stream the station. And we are qualifying people for Five Finger Death Punch tickets and also Cinderella's Tom Kiefer tickets this week on the website if you want to enter for that. And then weekday mornings from 6 to 10, you can hear me on Everything That Rocks, Laser 99.3 and 98.5. And you can check out what the hell happened on this date in history at 7:45, the 90s at 9. You can stream the station at laser993.com, or you can download the free Laser app. Now, speaking of margarita salt and cocktails, if you have joined me here in the War Room for Cocktails in the War Room, you know that we always go through some of the bartender books that I have here in the War Room, which is where the bar is in the house, which is why we started hanging out here during the pandemic. Some new additions. Melissa hooked me up with some music-themed bartender books when she went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. These books are awesome. And because we were talking about Welcome to Rockville and Guns N' Roses, I selected the Guns N' Roses chapter for cocktails. The Rattle Skull. This is 12 ounces of porter, 1.5 ounces of rum or brandy, 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lime juice, 1/2 ounce of brown sugar syrup, which is 1-to-1 sugar to water, so brown sugar to water. And it says a popular colonial drink that packs a wallop. I love it when things get described as packing a wallop. This cocktail this cocktail comes straight to you from revolutionary times to help woo that sweet child. Why chase your beer with a shot when you can just have them together? The early American logic, that is what's behind this drink. It's hard to refute. Try it over ice, with or without. The taste is similar to a Cuba Libre, the rum and Coke from Cuba. So it says add the ingredients to a chilled beer mug and stir. So porter, rum or brandy, lime juice, and brown sugar syrup, and that is called a Rattle Skull. There's really good drink recipes in these books. Well, this is amazing. Let's see. Eric says, is your wood stove going in the background? Yeah, the wood stove in the war room is silent. The wood stove in the other room has a fan on it to like blow the heat around, and that's running right now. If you guys can hear that, that's what that is. What is porter? It's beer. Chris says sober, but taking bong hits for you, Carrie, because I don't drink and do the hard shit anymore. Chris, you are California sober. That's what they call that. If you don't drink, you don't do anything other than smoke weed. I believe that is referred to as California sober. So if that's what works for you, this is a no judgment zone. You guys know that. Okay. I want to remind you guys about this event that's coming up on the 30th, Booze, Brews, and Barbecue. It's happening in Salem, Mass. I was just there over the weekend. I had some friends that came in from out of town from the Carolinas, some friends of my husband's, and the guys all went out for the day. And so the girls all wanted to go to Salem. So I took them into Salem for the day. And we stopped at East Regiment Beer Company. And the cider that they make, it's like a maple cider that they have on tap. Fantastic. But Barry Kirch from Shinedown, this is his show, Booze, Brews, and Barbecue, which we talked at length about in last week's podcast episode. But they are doing a live show January 30th, Friday night, January 30th, from 6 to 9 in Salem, Mass. I'm going to be hosting the Q&A. There may still be a few tickets left available, but they were almost sold out the last time we checked. So if you want to go, I put it up on the events and the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com with the link to get your tickets. But there's going to be samplings and guest pouring. They're going to be talking about haunted happenings in and around Salem. There's going to be barbecue sampling there. And then the Q&A talking about everything from cooking barbecue and beer tasting to talking about music. John Guarnieri, who is Shinedown Security director, is also on the show. He is former Secret Service. We had him on the podcast years ago. So it's going to be a super interesting Q&A. I'm going to be there. So it's happening Friday night, the 30th from 6 to 9 at East Regiment Beer Company in Salem. Get your tickets right now. And of course, like I was just saying, we talked about it on last week's podcast episode 293, Barry Kirch from Shinedown coming back on the show to talk about a little bit of everything, to talk about playing the Field of Dreams field at the Velocity Fest that's happening this summer with Creed and Carrie Underwood, talking about how Lynyrd Skynyrd is going to open up for them at that festival later this year. I'm seriously thinking about going on a road trip to Iowa to go to that show because I love Field of Dreams. It's like one of my favorite movies. I love baseball movies in general. And to see Skynyrd and Shinedown on the same day would be pretty badass. And then last week, we dropped a bonus episode of the podcast. Gavin Rossdale from Bush, a bonus episode, came out on Friday. And Gavin literally got on and recorded the interview with me 2 hours after his oldest son moved away and moved in with his girlfriend. And Gavin was depressed. Like, he was legit, like, sad. And we were talking about, like, my stepdaughter, my bonus daughter moving away to college, and that process of becoming an empty nester and watching your kids get older and move out, which is something that every parent at one point or another has to go through. And Gavin was really having a hard time with it. We talked about that. We talked about the Land of Milk and Honey tour that's going to be at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway April 12th. That's also going to have Mammoth and Jake and the Cold Gun And those tickets went on sale on Friday. So if you didn't check out the bonus episode, that's why I tell you to subscribe to the podcast, because you expect the weekly episodes on Wednesdays, but unless you're subscribed, you're not going to get notified that bonus episodes drop. So what's up, Rachel? She says, hey, y'all, sorry I'm late. Brett says, wish Salem wasn't so far from me. Bish says from 6 to 9. Nice. Jessica says, did he mention his kids? Yeah, he did. That's one of the biggest things we were talking about. Brett says, I can't believe Hanson is playing the Lunatic Ball, which is Shinedown's first music festival, Miramar Beach in Florida later on this fall. I didn't realize they were such good friends with Zach either. Shinedown, Bush is playing that Shinedown Festival, which is a 3-day festival, which is happening later on this year, Miramar Beach, Florida. Let's see. Eric says Little Big League is a fantastic baseball movie. I really love sports movies in general, whether they're satirical like Major League or whether they're autobiographical like Rudy or like anything in between. I just love sports movies. And Field of Dreams, I just love that movie. I always have. I love James Earl Jones. I love Kevin Costner. They went to Fenway. Just the whole concept of it, I just loved. So the fact that they're now starting to have concerts on that field, they did the first one last year, is pretty epic. So, all right, let me tell you who was on the podcast this week and how it affects the Patriots. So Matt, otherwise known as 0936, is my guest on episode 294. Now, he is a hip hop and a rock and metal performer, but he also is a songwriter and has worked with everybody from Atreyu to Hollywood Undead to Theory of a Dead Man. And he is from Philly and a diehard Eagles fan. Now, you would be interested to know that we recorded this interview right before Wild Card Weekend. And we all know what happened to the Eagles that weekend. So it's going to make this episode even funnier. So make sure you subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. Episode 294 with 0936 goes live at midnight tonight. Hillary says, lyrically, Symptom of Being Human, a beautiful song from Shinedown, obviously. Bish says, for the love of the game, favorite baseball movie. Oh, it's a great movie. Like, there's so many good. The Natural is a great baseball movie. I quote Major League literally all the time, which is, totally not real, but hilarious nonetheless. Marcy says, me too. I wish Salem was closer. Yeah, there's just great, not only baseball movies, but just like football stuff in general. It was nice to tell Zero about my experience at the Super Bowl in Jacksonville, watching the Patriots beat the Eagles back in, what was that, 04? Was that Super Bowl 36? I can't remember. Anyway, it was amazing. Paul McCartney was the halftime show. I was there. It was amazing. Fever Pitch, great movie. Hands down, Miracle, an amazing sports movie. I love that movie, absolutely. So that is this week's episode. Episode 294 with 0936 goes live at midnight tonight. And not only do you get the weekly episodes when you subscribe and you get the bonus episodes, but you also get the sit rep, which you can get every Monday through Friday. It's like 5 minutes long. It runs down everything going on in music, or rock music, metal, in entertainment, whether it be streaming stuff, new releases, concert announcements, bands breaking up, bands getting back together, bands getting arrested, like whatever it is, you get the sit rep. And then there's also mini sit reps that you can hear on Laser 99.3 and 98.5 and on 106.3 The Bone when you're listening to those stations all day. And places that you can check out the podcast, basically every podcast outlet. You can also check out all the episodes on YouTube. The Mistress Carrie podcast is part of the Pantheon Podcast Network. And if all else fails, you can either go to the Mistress Carrie page on any of my radio station websites, or just go to mistresscarrie.com and click play on whatever episode you want to listen to. It's that easy. Still holding out at 149 countries listening to the podcast. So there we are. Okay. If you're celebrating your birthday today on January 20th, your birthday absolutely rocks. You're sharing your birthday with Linkin Park drummer Rob Borden, also Sid Wilson, the DJ from Slipknot, Tracy Guns from LA Guns, Paul Stanley from Kiss, and Ian Hill from Judas Priest. And today is National Disc Jockey Day. So if today's your birthday, happy birthday. Cheers, happy Disc Jockey Day to all of my radio friends and coworkers. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Cheers to you guys. Good night, Eric. Thanks for hanging out with us. Bish says, yeah, you told us about that you were surrounded by Eagles fans and broke out the bomber hat. Oh, I was 100% wearing it. Yeah. In Jacksonville with two diehard Pats fans sitting next to me that were diehard AAF fans. I got a single ticket to the Super Bowl. Everybody that isn't Hillman, like everybody from the radio station, we were in Jacksonville, got single tickets. So we were all separated around the stadium. And I was drinking like 24-ounce Captain and Cokes to stay warm. And I was buying them for the two guys sitting next to me because I talk a lot of shit when I watch football. And I was like, can you guys keep me from getting my ass kicked? And they did. And we won and then went out on the field. It was amazing. Lou says, happy Disc Jockey Day. Marcy says, happy DJ Day. It's also National Cheese Day. Rachel says, yes, it is. And delicious nonetheless. Donna says, happy birthday and happy unbirthday to Keith. All right, let's talk about some stuff going on in music. Speaking of football, Green Day was announced by the NFL as being the pregame opening ceremony performance. They are going to be on the Super Bowl telecast at 6 o'clock before the opening ceremonies. So they did add a little bit of rock music in there. And Green Day got the nod. They announced it over the weekend. A bunch of new albums just got announced. Sevendust just announced their new album, One, is coming out on May 1st. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers releasing his debut solo album, Honora, coming out on, I think it's March 27th. Tom Hamilton from Aerosmith is not only releasing the debut album from his band Close Enemies, but also this Friday releasing his solo debut album. Incubus, Brandon Boyd, gave an update saying that they went back into the studio to record more songs for their upcoming new album, Something in the Water. So there is a lot of music announcements coming. And Barry Kirch told me on last week's podcast episode that the announcement about the new Shinedown album is coming before the end of the month. He told me it's coming this week. So be on the lookout for a big Shinedown announcement at some point this week for the new album. Record Store Day got announced for April 18th. Tons of exclusive vinyl, including something really cool that the Rolling Stones are releasing, which is a special turntable and 3-inch little vinyl records that are coming out for Record Store Day. You can get the details and the list of all of the stuff that's coming out for Record Store Day. Just go to recordstoreday.com. And this interesting story with Poison. Ricky Rocket has come out and said that the band had gotten a really good offer by Live Nation to do a 40th anniversary tour this year, which the band has already hinted that they were going to do. Well, now Ricky Rocket is saying the tour is not going to happen because Bret Michaels was demanding $6 to every $1 the rest of the bandmates were going to make. And so Bobby Dahl and Ricky Rocket and CeCe DeVille are saying, it's just not worth it for us to do it. And so now it looks like the Poison 40th anniversary tour is not going to happen. Bret Michaels is out on a solo tour right now. He's going to be at Mohegan at the end of the month. And that Poison tour doesn't look like it's going to happen now. Jason says Dolly Parton turned 80 yesterday. Did you see the post she put up? Bono and the guys from U2 sent her a cake and a bagpiper to play her happy birthday. And Dolly put up pictures and video of that and said, thank you. This old bag feels really special today. Kevin says National Disc Jockey Day for those who ride horses. No, disc jockey, smart ass. DJs. Bish says love Incubus. So yeah, there's a lot going on with new albums. A lot of tours are getting announced. Friday, do you want to go over there and sit with your sister? Go ahead. Sit down. Sit. So I don't know what's going to happen with this Poison tour. It seems kind of insane to leave all that money on the table because they 100% could make a bunch of money. And I wonder if this was supposed to be part of the Twisted Sister 50th anniversary tour that Dee Snider already announced that the band is going on, which is really interesting. Lou says a Tom Hamilton solo record. Yes, it's coming out on Friday. I got details on that coming up in a minute. All right, let's go over some concerts. Nine Inch Nails is on February 13th. I've got tickets to give away all this week on the Pike. Other shows coming to the Garden: Bad Omens, Weird Al, Iron Maiden. This has Megadeth, by the way, and also Rush coming up in September. The DCU Center in Worcester has got Bring Me the Horizon and Journey, and also Silver Scream Con 5, which is now the first weekend in October. All of the shows that we're talking about, by the way, are already up on the concert calendar. Our Lady Peace and the Verve Pipe are going to be at Big Night Live coming up in March. The Xfinity Center just announced Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson. Just announced this tour. It goes on sale this Friday. It's called the Freaks on Parade Tour with The Who and Orgy. But everybody from Hardy and Evanescence to Sammy Hagar and Train, Chicago and Styx, Five Finger Death Punch, Motley Crue with Tesla and Extreme, Avenged Sevenfold and Good Charlotte, Lynyrd Skynyrd and Foreigner. The outdoor show schedule is getting insane. Jessica says Dolly looks amazing for her age. She's 80. Hey, what's the matter? Did you just... Please tell me you guys heard those pug farts. Did you hear the farts after the barks? It was like the bark and then the fart. It's like backfiring of your car. They weren't just loud. Girls, what did you eat? What did you get into that has got you stinking the way that you do? Why are you guys farting the way that you're farting? What did you eat? Oh. Oh my God. I can't escape it. I'm just here eating it, right? It's like, oh, girls. Okay, Ghost is going to be at the Mohegan Sun Arena. Kenny Wayne Shepherd at the Chevalier Theater. Oh my God. It's obscene. It is obscene. It smells like someone pooped on the couch. Oh, Marcy. I didn't just get Dutch ovened, Mr. Cole. That's crop dusted. Like, I can't escape it. Oof. Use the toys as a fan. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. Denise says Friday is looking like Mom. What do you mean? We did nothing. Yeah, you did something. Look, you can see the guilt. Look at him. Wednesday, Friday, you know what you did. You know what you did. Wednesday, don't give me the side eye. You know what you did. You know. Yeah, look at Wednesday. She won't even look at me. She won't even look at me right now. Look. Yeah. You know what you did? Was that your stinky butt? That's brutal, Wednesday. It's brutal. Are you proud of yourself? You are, aren't you? Smells like Teen Spirit, says Jason. Mouth full of fart. Add to the dictionary. Bitch, that totally needs to go in there. Mouth full of fart. Yes. Jessica says the pugs are looking innocent. Oh my God, the side eye is real, says Rachel. I told you it's real. This is Dan from the Vernon Hill American Legion, Post 435, calling from Gilbert, Arizona. Thank you for all that you do and your unwavering support of all the veterans in the local community. You got it, Dan. Take a break and save yourself, says Lou on Instagram. Oh, where do you think you're going now, Wednesday? Huh? Where do you think you're going? Oh. Okay. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, 3 Days Grace, Cheap Trick, Pussifer, Lamb of God, Labyrinth, also Rush. Tom Kiefer from Cinderella is going out on a tour. Buckcherry is opening up. They're going to be in Springfield. They're going to be at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom. Those dates are up on the concert calendar as well. The Leader Bank Pavilion has got everybody from Satch Vi and Triumph to Youngblood. Another show that got announced today. Les Claypool announced Claypool Gold. All three of his bands on the same tour. Kind of like if Maynard James Keenan toured with Pussifer, A Perfect Circle, and Tool all on the same tour. That's what Les Claypool's doing. So he's got Primus, and then it's the Frog Brigade, and then it's the project that he does with Sean Ono Lennon. All three of Les Claypool's bands are on this. It's called Claypool Gold. It got announced today. Leader Bank Pavilion, June 10th. Tickets go on sale this Friday. Yellow Card and Toto and Christopher Cross, and then OAR, all of those shows at the Leader Bank Pavilion. Nothing announced at Fenway yet. I will tell you that these outdoor stadium shows are starting to get announced because BTS just got announced for Gillette Stadium. So the big stadium shows are coming. The Palladium has got Lacuna Coil, Des Rocks, Clutch and Corrosion of Conformity, Slaughter to Prevail, and Magnolia Park coming. And Roadrunner in Boston has got Echo and the Bunnymen. The MGM Music Hall at Fenway is getting ready to host the guys from the Dropkick Murphys for all of the St. Patrick's Day stuff, but also Sabaton and Pop Evil, Black Label Society, the aforementioned Bush, Lamb of God, and Bill Murray. All of those shows are on sale. The House of Blues has got Nothing More next month. The Dropkicks on St. Patrick's Day. The Hives, Guar, Alter Bridge, Filter, and Tim Montana. David Lee Roth and Wolf Mother. Mr. Cole says, recharged, ready for fart round 2. Shh. Don't even joke. It was terrible. The Paradise Rock Club has got the Circle Jerks coming up in April. City Winery has got the Nelson Brothers Acoustic at the end of April on the 26th. And just like what we were talking about with the outdoor stadiums, Suffolk Downs, the stage is getting ready to announce a lot of those summer shows as well. New releases, we were talking about the Tom Hamilton debut solo album, I'm Your Vampire. Also, The Damned, Goldfinger. The final full-length Megadeth album comes out on Friday. Empty Hands from Poppy and Symphonic Live from Yes. Those are all coming out this Friday. Mail call. I got to thank Carol. I got your note, Carol. She said, hey, MC, enjoy. She sent me cookies because she loves me. I'm still laughing about the oven at your grandfather's bakery. Yeah, we were talking about that last week, that I used to play in it, that he would put me in the oven and let me ride around in it. It was already cooled down. Bish says, Walter, grab the Febreze. Annette says, Mom, pull my paw. Somebody asked about Papa Roach. Papa Roach just got announced that they are playing Incarceration, and I believe Godsmack is playing it too. So there are definitely some big festivals that are still announcing stuff. Bish says Chris Stapleton is playing Fenway in June. Yeah, like those shows are getting announced. We don't know who's playing it as far as rock bands go. I was kind of expecting the Foos to announce it, maybe Guns N' Roses, but nothing as of yet. A reminder about the new stuff that is in the online store, the reflective beanies, the jack racks, and the new keychains are there. And then the sticker packs have been updated with Property of Mistress Carrie and I Rode with Mistress Carrie bumper stickers as well. And if you don't have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass yet, let me remind you, you can get them on Patreon. Every month we do an exclusive live stream. We get on Zoom together. I let you know who's coming up on the podcast. You get travel blog updates. I'm going to be traveling next month, so I'm taking you guys with me. Early access to event information and tickets, exclusive concert ticket giveaways, and merch discount codes. So there's a lot of stuff that you get with the Backstage Pass, and there are a lot of concert ticket giveaways that are coming. You guys are seeing all of the shows that are getting announced. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of giveaways that are happening if you have a Backstage Pass. And just a reminder about all the places you can find me on social and all the radio stations where you can hear the Mistress Carrie radio show, all the radio station apps that you can listen on, stream the station. And we hit another milestone with the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook. 5,100 members and counting. Which is amazing. So I got to thank everybody that's already joined the group. If you have not yet joined it, it's a great way for you to learn about veterans initiatives, veterans rights and programs, nonprofits that benefit veterans, volunteer opportunities. It's a great place to find out information about resources and ask questions. If you are a veteran-owned business, if you're a veteran that is out of work and looking for work, if you're a company that is looking to hire veterans, or if you're just a concerned citizen and you want to get involved with the veterans community like the 5,100 and counting people already have, just go on Facebook, search Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock. It's a free group, but it is only for veterans initiatives. We don't talk about music there. This is not a place to post your, dog pictures or whatever else that it is. This is just for a veterans initiative. So that's what the page is for. And it's been working out really great. So I'm super excited about it. I think that's it. They're both unconscious, snoring, like right here. Of course, on the other side of me from the pug cam. They look like they're sorry now. Like at first, Wednesday was giving me the side eye, like, what are you going to make about my farting? And now it's like, okay, we're sorry. We realized you got a mouthful of fart and we're apologizing. So the pugs are forgiven. All right, so let's wrap up where we started off, guys. Be really careful with this storm this weekend. Make sure that you are prepared no matter where you live for disruptions in deliveries, whether it be deliveries for your business, whether it's medications, whether it's just whatever that you ordered online, food stuff. Just make sure that you're ready. It's going to get really cold this weekend. We're not anticipating in the Northeast losing power because it's just going to be cold, something that we're used to, but you never know what could happen. And so just you losing your heat, your furnace deciding that's the perfect time to go down. Just be prepared, be careful. Please, over the weekend, check in on your elderly neighbors, check in on anyone in the neighborhood or any of your friends if you have disabled veterans that are in your friend group. Make sure that you're posting up on your social media now, reminding people to check in on people. Put a call in with your neighbors and find out if you've got elderly neighbors living in your neighborhood. Ask them right now if there's something you can go out and get for them. Make sure that their medications have been refilled to the point where they're not going to have shortages in case supply chains go down. Just look out for each other. This weekend is going to get weird for a lot of people. So Bish says Ocean State Job Lot is taking donations for winter coats for veterans. That is amazing. It's almost cold enough for pants, Keith says. So there you go. And before I get out of here, go Pats. Episode 294 of the Mistress Carrie podcast with Philadelphia Eagles fan 0936 goes live at midnight. I will see you guys next week. Stay safe, stay warm, and go Pats. Mouthful of fart. Going in the dictionary.